Welcome everyone! So I wanted to do this because like the time window for doing this is kind of brief, even though I am allowed to talk about this whenever I so please, but I finished Deltarune chapter 3 and 4! Woo! Even though I'm still missing a lot, most of what I'm missing I already kinda saw. I'm more interested in finding all the chapter 3 secrets, but I don't know how to get there, so I kinda had to look at it. The chapter 4 stuff I'm totally for spoiling, I guess, except for like the secret boss fight. So yeah, I still have to look into that, but I kind of just wanted to talk about everything because, I don't know, I heard a few people say they didn't enjoy chapter 3 at least as much, so I mean, it's totally fine, but I'm someone who really liked chapter 3, so I kind of wanted to talk about it as well. And maybe shortly after, like, it's still a bit new, because I think there are gonna be lots of videos like that, and you probably would be bored if you heard another one's opinion. I don't know. I mean, obvious spoiler warning for chapter 3 and maybe with chapter 4. This video will be just me rambling. It's gonna be super unstructured and I don't have like interesting visuals or something. I don't know if I'll edit anything. Probably not. I'm too lazy to do that. So I don't know, if you wanna hear what I have to say, just have it in the background and do something else. I don't know. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go! So, I was super excited when chapter 3 started. I don't know, I was anticipating something, I don't know what, but like just Toby kind of then being this weird loading dog on the string, and he was playing with my emotions with that. Because I wanted to start so badly, and it starts with Susie waking up and blinking, and I was so happy because I knew this was gonna play at the beginning and stuff. It's also really cute how she waked up Kris. What I totally missed, apparently the sofa walks away when you wake up, and yeah, I was also really surprised how quickly Ralsei finds us this time, and I'm not sure if he knew that Kris opened the fountain. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I don't know, I think he didn't, I have no idea. But it was also really interesting that, and I enjoyed it a lot, of course, Susie was like, "Oh my god, Ralsei, I have to tell you everything we did!" And Ralsei was like, "Okay, Susie, but maybe let's just keep going first." And then it turns angsty, and I live for that shit. It was also so sad, especially for me, whose like top 3 favorite character is Ralsei, that he was like, "No, I don't exist, Susie, just forget me." And like, I mean, it makes sense that he doesn't exist because like there's so many meta shit in Deltarune. And I kind of can explain to myself everything, but I don't know, the whole okay, this part isn't real, it doesn't work that well for me. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll go a bit there later when Ralsei explains everything. But he explains like the dark world is an illusion, and Susie's like, "Shut the hell up! You're real to me, okay?" And it was like, "Yes, preach, Susie! This guy doesn't have any self-esteem! Do it!" And then they get interrupted. Ralsei even gets to swear. Right, and then we see Tenna. I don't know, I love the pipeline from, okay, Mike, next boss, because Jebel, next boss foreshadowing, to, oh no, wait, his name is Tenna, and maybe he's an evil TV or something. And then you get to see this weird-ass intro with 3D animation, everything's fluid. I was like, "Toby, didn't you say it was too complicated to implement something like that?" And then he's this fucking 3D sprite! Nobody could have predicted that. Also, I don't know, I just saw a video where someone was like, "Yeah, Tenna is supposed to remind you of like Spamton." And he did, but like in the best possible way, because I like Tenna so much more than Spamton. Also turns out kind of Spamton wronged Tenna as well, in a way. I don't know, I feel like Tenna is the one who actually made a big lol. He was really charming. I really like Tenna. I miss Tenna. Yeah, I also like, I don't know, you would have expected from Ralsei when Susie was like, shut the hell up, we're not being on your stupid game show. To be like, Susie, please be nice. But no, he was like, hey Susie, I know I can't be with on the festival with you because I'm not real, you're just imagining things. I'm not saying this because I have shitty self-esteem, but maybe we can play this game together. And it's honestly really cute. And then they do, and then I was a bravest little girl, a well-behaved little girl. I just typed in like an abbreviation for Kris, KRS in this case. Tenna took at me as wanting to curse, which wasn't my intention, but Susie fucking typed ass. And I mean, my mind didn't even go to that. I wasn't imagining it, but this was such a Susie thing to do. And Ralsei's little bow in the beginning was so cute as well. And I loved the little video game Undertale joke in the beginning. So like, okay, how do we open a video game? Oh, I know, I made a video game once. I know what to do. Let's jump into a hole. Yeah, I really enjoyed the video game stuff. I don't know, mainly because it was just the gang getting to hang out, and it really felt like everyone was playing on their own, really. Especially like the little commentary at the bottom of each of the characters. Ralsei firstly wanting to read the manual, Susie just wanting to jump into action. I also really like, especially about the video game sections, at least the first one, that there were like these quizzes and stuff, and this is like also one of my favorite things about Deltarune chapter 3, that you get so much Kris lore. And I also live for that, because Kris doesn't talk that much. Yeah. We sucked ass at the cooking thingy. I think I don't have that much to say about like the first little adventure. I enjoyed the second one way more. Yeah, we failed 4 times. I was shitty at jumping. I never could tell when the fire was gonna get me. But I loved the little outfits Ralsei and Susie and Kris have. It's so cute. Also, in my headcanon, is that Kris is actually wearing a skirt here. At least they're wearing high heels more than twice in this chapter. So, slay. Yeah. I also love that they made this little pirouette. Kris is wonderful. Right, and then Tenna's like, oh no, you can't go yet. We have to do a bonus round because that was totally planned. And like my guy, just it's obviously don't have to be shady about it. A TV show would have more than 2 segments. Also, I'm one who kind of I enjoy linear gameplay actually, kind of a lot when it's good. I mean, I also like exploring, but I like going through a story, and I mean, we knew that chapter 3 was gonna be a bit less standard Deltarune, so I didn't mind this at all, just going back to like the main hub green world room thingy, then going back to the board. Also, what, I don't know, it was really funny that Rules just kind of got there and was like, oh, are these guys single? I forgot if I was already sensing what was coming, but yeah. What I really found is interesting, there was like a very mini theory, not many people believe this, about Ralsei actually just really astral projecting us to Susie and not really talking to Kris. I mean, of course he astral projects us to Susie, but this chapter he tries the same, but whether you do it or not, we never really get the impression that they actually talked without us, because he doesn't do his, so that's why. Yeah, and because, I don't know, Kris seemed so, I don't know, the choice for not looking what Susie's doing was so, okay, probably Kris wants to do this. I took this choice and I told Ralsei his face is unique, and he reaffirmed that he isn't real. You're real to me, Ralsei. I know you're gonna be real someday, please. Yeah, and what I also find really interesting is, I mean, obviously this is so cute that firstly Susie just is confirmed to find Ralsei cute. I'm saying this like not in like a shipping sense, but there are many hints that Susie just thinks Ralsei looks cute, like in the blandest way to say that. But she doesn't want to admit it. And now Ralsei says, "That means you and Susie think I'm cute." And what I also find really interesting, which is also kind of addressed in chapter 4, Kris doesn't think Ralsei looks like Azriel. Haha. Neither did I, actually. I don't know what they were teasing him with, but when we say your face looks familiar, Ralsei is super depressing again and says if there's one thing he likes about himself, it's his face. So please, I'm sorry if it looks boring, but and then Kris is like, no, I mean you looked similar to, I don't know, maybe they teased him a bit there, but then Ralsei says, okay, I get it, you don't think it looks too similar. Yeah, I don't know why Susie calls us weirdos again, but it's also interesting that I don't know if it's implied that Kris actually doesn't like Tenna. I saw a comic at least implying that, and I don't know where they got this idea from. But if you choose to go with Susie, it's actually a quite cute moment. Not one I would, I don't know, I wouldn't exchange the Ralsei talk for looking at Susie, honestly, even though it gives a little bit more foreshadowing for what's to come later. But I don't know, it's cute to see her like emphasize with Tenna, and it's kind of also important for the ending. But then Tenna's like, I'm not sure if Kris actually likes TV, and I mean, maybe they don't. They haven't used it in ages. Toriel apparently was the last one to give Tenna a good look back in the day, and yeah, so you can say, oh no, I love TV. Maybe Kris says something is very monotone when they say it or something. I don't know, we only really tried the he sucks route. Okay, but now onto my favorite part, which is the love stuff. It was super fun. My favorite part of it was, I mean, I have two favorite parts, but the body swap. I made Susie, or rather my sister made Susie wear the ribbon, which is the correct choice. But I don't know, I really like using the controlling different people for like a setting like body swap, because it's also kind of symbolic. Kris gets to do whatever they want because they're playing as Susie now. Susie gets to learn compassion through the power of the Ralsei or something. Like, I mean, they talk in chapter 4 a little bit more about that, I guess. And Ralsei gets the choice of being not a little henchman person to the player main character one. He gets to be the MC for once. It's good for his self-worth, so I'm all for it. And then everything, Susie switches everything back because there are bombs to blow up, hello! Yeah, we actually kind of, we tried to discover secrets. Apparently they're really don't lead anywhere. They're really just, supposed to look mysterious or something, like the icy area and this hidden thingy where Susie's like, hey, what's there? And Tenna's like, oh, nothing. And Susie's like, but I wanna go there, but we can't. And we tried, we thought this was lead to the egg room, and we kind of flipped between two rooms the whole time, and then we were like, nah, I don't know what this is, but I think there's nothing. The first time we played it, we kind of missed the like Love Island thingy. Which is sad. It glows in rainbow colors, and since we're playing Deltarune, you know what that means. Every one of the characters is bisexual. Deltarune, where you bi until you're confirmed otherwise. Just like Rules card, even though I kind of always had Canon Rules as Pan, because his type is just full guys that are bosses of their zone, haha, guardian of their zones, and we have to purify them. Yeah, I don't know. But what? He's bisexual. I totally knew that. Yeah, I don't know. Comedy Gold Rules gets a thruple. I I totally didn't expect. I don't know. Both El Nino and La Nina. El Nina and La Nino. Right. They're not very good as a couple. I mean, it's so easy to break them apart. But again, they're perfect for each other because both of them are the same amount of eh. But I really like them. And then one of them, for us it was Nina, just gets ripped rules, and apparently both of them actually find him hot. And then I thought, oh my god, Rules is such an MVP right now, bringing the two broken hearts together. You should be together with me. And apparently he thought the Funging was a throuple, and he only built one because to one-up them or something. And I don't know, but have you noticed that, I don't know, the fun gang, like the three, Susie, Kris and Ralsei, actually kind of get shipped in Deltarune as a couple? They, I mean, when Edison in chapter 2 offers Noelle and Kris dating shoes, but when you go there with the fun gang, they offer them marriage shoes. Then there was also another, I forgot what it was, with the three, but then Rules the whole time thinking they're actually a thing. I honestly live for that. I really love it. I don't know, mainly because the fun gang has, every character of them had such a great dynamic, and for me it mostly just feels like acknowledging that they're like the friendest friend to ever friend. They make my throat hurt and my heart tight or something. Yeah, also the little photos you get to take with them, the whole thing was so cute. Also apparently if you Susie is like, when you discover this rainbow bridgey thing, okay Ralsei, get on the heart, we're getting you a lover, because she just wants to progress, and apparently you actually can go with Kris on the other heart, and then she just, yeah, there you go, but we can't use Kris and Ralsei for this. Yeah. What I also really like, this is more chapter 4 stuff, but I think Kris at least really liked, you know, the tea theory, right? That Kris doesn't really like Ralsei and stuff, but I think they do. At least now they are probably appreciating him. Oh god, pronouncing. They are probably appreciating him way more than chapter 2. We also know that they don't think he looks like their brother, and I think they can just really sympathize with him, so yeah. I love it when my mouth doesn't work. And then we get to Leitner's Live, and I was so hyped about that. Apparently in chapter 4 you can play the minigame again, and then Ralsei screams a cuss word really loudly and covered his mouth, and it's so cute. Yeah, also it's good to play with two people, because my sister did the rhythm game and I got to sing the Ralsei censored lyrics. I don't know, it was really cute that he was just like, these lyrics kind of seem a bit inappropriate, do I have to? And then I was like, yes, you have to. Or that Susie is such like, oh man, you guys you really sucked ass, you're lucky I carried you through this. And Ralsei's like, okay, Kris, now you and I really have to play perfectly. And in the end, Susie's like, we really should do a band. And you think Ralsei is kind of like, you were terrible, Susie. Why would you suggest that? When he's like, okay. And then it's like, no, we have to do a bonus round. And I really do like, though, that they don't want it anymore. It was too much. The board thingy does get repetitive after a while. So yeah. It's funny that many times, 3 chapters, we kind of got captured now. It's also, I don't know, it was super funny when Susie was looking after Tenna, and then she was like, yeah, I think he's hiding something, man, people like that really piss me off. And then you could just feel that Ralsei and Kris were like, yeah, totally, that's crazy when people do that, right? When they try and tell you the whole deal. And oh yeah, we have 2 very good candidates for not telling you the whole deal right in this room, Susie. You 2 best friends. Yeah. I mean, the whole section is now where you really can go explore, but we didn't find everything. It was fun though. I kind of was like, you don't expect me to recruit 25 shadow dudes, Toby, right? I don't know, the bells this time also were kind of annoying because they were too difficult for me. I think if I do them more times, it's gonna get way easier. I liked the quizzes in this sneaking around section. I wish we could have found more stuff to do. Like there is more stuff to do, but we kind of didn't find them. I also really liked, like, I don't know, in chapter 1 and 2, there were many NPCs, but I felt like, yeah, okay, random NPC, we're never gonna see you again. But this time, I don't know, because you got introduced to everyone at this beginning and you see them every once in a while in the green room and stuff, I felt way more connected to all the random NPCs, like the little Pippins dude with like the Zapper guy and like this Pluck guy that likes Kris because they kind of feel parental towards them. But I've heard they're actually evil, I don't know. And so on and so forth. Ralsei was great this chapter. He was really funny. He was there. I never really checked my pocket when in chapter 2, but here he kind of just was on the side and was his lovable little bouncy self. And was great, especially like the fight done with rules, and I thought, oh, okay, now they're gonna dump him, and they didn't dump him. They dumped him after the fight, and then he stole the snacks, and it was awesome. But it was our first game over against rules. Okay. I also love how like totally gloomy everything got then near the end, because then you enter this like frozen area, maybe also this dusty area, I don't know, like you enter the fridge basically, and you get like the sad backstory and everything and a little hints. I think it's so interesting that you get to enter Kris's house for a sec, like through a little game, and I bet there's some symbolism there or something they try to tell us, but I'm currently too stupid to get it. But I really love that. Yeah, apparently there's like this scene which I didn't encounter, but yeah, as someone who is a filthy I ship every member of the fun gang with each other person, like the little cruisy moment where Susie was like, hey Kris, what are you doing? And then we apparently try to murder her, and then Kris kind of grabs her and she's like, oh, what are you doing? I guess if you really wanna, then you can taste my shampoo. This is such a Susie thing to do. Oh my god. Yeah, the fun gang has such great dynamics with each other. I love them so much. Then turns out Toriel was there, but she was sleeping, and I totally see why people are mad about that. Personally, I enjoyed the chapter enough so it doesn't bother me that much, but I really would have liked to see maybe Toriel talking with Ralsei or something. I don't know. Yeah, I also like saw a critique of like a YouTuber, Tumblr person, like Cookie, who didn't like it that much, and I respect him a lot, but yeah, I enjoyed it. And he made like a good point, I guess, even though I didn't fully understand what he meant, that they were focused too much on the objectification theme, that they forgot to unobjectify Toriel this chapter. But I think she's gonna play a big role in chapter 3, because like as for foreshadowing. 3? I mean 5. Yeah. Also, I think it's really good that 3 and 4 were released together, because I don't know if we could have survived this cliffhanger. Anyway, you get to fight Tenna, and like, I don't know, for a second I kind of was convinced that he was a secret boss. As weird as that sounds, it was always we were gonna fight him, but his fight felt so secret bossy, I don't know. He even speaks like the secret bosses for a moment. He is like a forgotten thingy. You didn't get like your soul glowing and our attacks getting stronger and stuff. Yeah, also it took us so long until we figured out that you have to remotely turn him off. We were too stupid for it, but okay. I mean, I skipped over a whole bunch, but I don't think it was that important, except, yeah, right, You get to talk with Ralsei or Susie again. The Susie route we chose made me sad because Susie is accepting that this isn't real, where no, Susie, don't do this, Ralsei needs your optimism. Or you got to talk to Ralsei. We talked to Ralsei and we told him it's okay to enjoy yourself playing games, and like obvious metaphor for when you're playing games you lose yourself in that world or whatever. And then he asked us to buy ice cream for Susie because he feels like he can't fulfill his role as a friend properly, and this was so sad. And of course I promised him to buy ice cream for Susie. And this kind of sent me down a mental spiral because I thought he was going to die someday. This was so sad. I forgot it was then, but I kind of made this doomed Ralsei theory, kinda sorta. Because like I theorized throughout the whole thing. Kind of talking about Ralsei now, I feel like he really suffers from existential dread, especially because of what he later says to Tenna, because he didn't really cope with like Susie's words didn't stick to him, that he is real to her and stuff, and he kind of tries to comfort Tenna by telling him, oh Tenna, your feelings don't matter, we aren't real. And Susie kind of becoming an honorary Darkna and stuff, but he doesn't think he's real. He has this world-ending prophecy looming over his head. He thinks his only purpose is to serve Lighteners. He doesn't think he needs anything because that's the only thing he's made for, etc, etc. And when you break as an object, I mean, he knows that everyone is going to die, I think, but then you failed your purpose, essentially. And I think maybe he also kind of, because what he says in chapter 4, that maybe he also kind of sometimes questioned that she doesn't have interest in stuff. Maybe he felt a bit bad about that. So then, oh, I don't need it, I'm a Darkner, I'm a toy, isn't it? Kind of became a coping mechanism, perhaps. But like, I think he's filled with so much dread over just dying because of the prophecy, because he's an object maybe and he could break, and then he has nothing really left anymore because the only thing he ever knew, what he was supposed to do, couldn't be fulfilled by him. He's such a sad little boy. Oh my god. That sounded condescending. I don't mean it that way. He's so sad. He's such a sad character. I love him. I want to give him all my love and attention. Yeah, I don't know, I made a post that I could look up now, but it would be distracting if I did. So I'm not gonna do that, but there I kind of laid out all my Ralsei thoughts. Did I mention that we got to the room where you get like a thingy? I forgot which one, I think the egg, but because we did a puzzle wrong, we couldn't activate it. And then we were also like, okay, maybe here's the egg room, maybe we have to go forth and back and whatever, but it wasn't, and then we gave up. Okay, now the funny thing, okay, before we battled Tenna talked about, he said like, oh, Kris knows why I'm doing all of this, because nobody wanted to watch me anymore, but then the knight appeared and I was like, Kris Knight confirmed! He even sent a roaring knight, I was like, what? And I had to cope like hard. I even made a post about it. I was like, oh my god, you guys were right, I can't believe it. Because I kind of didn't like Kris Knight. You know why. I made a video where I stumble over my words, why please don't sacrifice Ralsei. Maybe I should address that soon. In favor of Kris Knight. I felt like Kris Knight muddled the you didn't got a choice in us possessing you stuff a bit. And I don't know, I like my favorite interpretation of we possessing Kris is that Kris really absolutely had no choice in this. I feel like it makes it a lot stronger. I mean, a Madoka Magica route with, oh yeah, you choose this, now you don't like it, could also work, but I don't feel like Deltarune is exactly the game for that, or rather the story. I don't know, I mean, we have more you chose this why are you angry stuff with Kris. Now, yeah. But yeah, I don't know, I was like kind of coping so hard and we had to stop in the middle of the fight because we were too bad at it. But we kind of continued a few minutes or something later. Yeah, I think I had to go because uni. And then I came back, we defeated Tenna. The knight showed up! Oh my god, I really was happy that I was wrong about my coping. I didn't need to cope to begin with, meaning I was right. Kris wasn't the knight. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all of you Kris Knight truthers. You do had a compelling theory, at least. There are very compelling elements to Kris Knight still, even though I don't like it that much. I also really like this route. I don't know why I started to guess that so soon, but I think I started guessing relatively soon that Kris and the knight might be working together. But like, I totally forgot that I read this comic where the knight was like this eldritch thingy, and then I kind of made a Tumblr post where I was like, hey yo, what's if the knight is like this eldritch thingy, and then I saw that recently and I go, wait, what? I predicted that? I mean, I was kind of joking around, but still. But I also, strangely, the design felt so familiar. I don't know, maybe because they look like a Hollow Knight character, but I'm like, oh yeah, of course this is what the knight looks. Also, like, they creeping around like a zombie, then roaring, and then you kind of like just have to realize the roaring knight appeared. Oh my gosh. And we lost. Apparently Gaster is supposed to talk to you when you lose, but he didn't to us. I don't know, but then it continued. Susie was cool. They almost killed Toriel, and then Undyne shows up. I thought really if there was gonna be a police guy, it would be Asker because it made more sense for like the dreamer thingy. But it was Undyne. Took you long enough, and she just immediately knows how to use a spear, and then she gets kidnapped. And then we go to the light world, and I find it really interesting that near the door it was too dark to see, and I think that actually means it was too light to see, you know, because Ralsei explains this earlier, that when you take away the light that isn't there, it means if it's get darker than dark, and then you can see things again. But if it just is dark and you take away you can see things again, meaning it kind of got lighter. Do you get me? Do you know what I'm trying to say? The closer you're out to the light world, the darker you don't see anything anymore in the dark world. Okay, but like that ending, like, oh my god, like Susie drags us behind her, and then they're in this shelter, and it was like, okay, next, I don't know, like, the chill that went down my spine when they were like, and the last symbol is the Deltarune. And then until next time, please! Yeah, firstly, I was like, oh god, the next big theory is gonna be who's the Deltarune, but I don't know, it kind of sort of got resolved, not really in chapter 4, maybe, perhaps. Gaster mentioned it at the end again, I don't know. Until next time didn't have the same effect on me like it did last time, because last time I was like, holy shit, Kris, what did you do? And this time I was like, oh, Kris probably went into the bunker, right? Because it kind of sort of opened for them, but I really sat there like, at the end, I don't know, I kind of, we got to chapter 4 directly after because I wanted to know what it looked like, and I don't know, this dream sequence with Kris, I felt them being so exhausted because Susie talks to them like she always does at the end, but like they're dreaming and they're not responding, and I don't know, not responding in a dream always is so like a sign of pure exhaustion because you're even too tired to stay awake in your own dream. And they were really, they had a rough night. And then they get woken up and Tori is like this perfect mom, and I really like the universe mother theory. I think it is true. I feel like chapter 3 especially confirmed the stuff for Susie in this theory. But I was like, we don't get the Toriel Kris issues addressed. Oh boy, I had no idea. They're probably still gonna be one day. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. All the Kris and Susie stuff was so cute. They legit made me almost cry at one point. Like, I don't know. I can't go over everything because it's everything. All the stuff you get to do in the light world, also kind of Asgore, was so cringe after the church. Like, man, what the hell are you thinking you're doing? Dude, What? Just show up to church and be casual, awkward there. Why are you proposing to your ex-wife in front of your child and their friend? Huh? Ah! Yeah, I don't know, I still want to talk about the scene. Really made my throat tighten. Like, we know if we, like, played through the, Light World on chapter 1, like, their little ritual with, Asriel and Kris and, like, drawing stuff on the window and ordering a hot chocolate, and they did that too. This was so sweet. Like, legit, oh my gosh, this was so sweet. Like, Susie is giving them back this sense of love that they lost, like, so long ago, probably, even though, I mean, still, even one semester of college away from your brother probably feels like an eternity, but, oh, who knows when they actually stopped, like, doing this. Oh my gosh. I love them so much. Susie is such a great character. She's such a good friend. They were so friends this entire chapter, like in the light red section at least. It was so cute. Speaking of cute, I of course firstly went to Ralsei. I didn't. By the way, sorry if you hear something clapping in the background. I kind of do this too. I don't know what I'm doing, but this is like a bracelet. Anyway, Ralsei was so cute! I love him so much! The way he greeted Kris and Susie, and then he rubbed his face against them and hugged them, and then he said, I love you too, Susie, in the dreadful Uwu language which Susie taught him. I think my headcanon is that she thought it would be cute if he did that, but then she got embarrassed when he did it in front of people. The whole so when Susie kind of picks up Lancer from like this wall, that he I think the rooms in the castle are just magic, and I even kind of speculate that the castle didn't even have rooms in chapter 1. He kind of just standed there the whole day waiting for anything. Probably, at least, the castle would have had a main hall, I think, because I think the really big door in the castle is where the Grand Fountain is. Yeah. Also kind of speculating. I mean, apparently Susie's words worked. Ralsei seemed a bit happier, maybe. I don't know. I felt like this whole thing is what I would also criticize. It felt a bit hollow when Susie was like, "Come on, Ralsei, you're still worth something and stuff. You made us happy and whatever. Nobody is gonna forget you. Don't forget I'm with you in the dark and all that. Don't forget the leitmotif of Deltarune, you know." Yeah, I know, Susie. I have seen the opening. What was I gonna say? I think that the stuff with just forget about everything isn't the usual. I mean, it's Ralsei, so of course it's the usual. Just don't think about it, okay? Sometimes the doors are just blue. But it's more like, okay, this is the fun hub world stuff, even though we don't have a hub world because this is a chapter-based game. And over there is the other stuff. So if you just want to play, you can do it here. Like, I think it's meant to be a little bit more game literal than just speculating about what does he mean by that. Yeah. Okay, but the tea party though, this was so cute, and Susie and Ralsei actually got to talk about how much they appreciate each other and how much they've grown because of each other, and they're so cute together. Like as friends, okay? I totally ship them as well, but as friends. And I mean, obvious foreshadowing about like we should do something nice for Ralsei. It's obvious. I mean, it was so obvious that they're gonna decorate Ralsei's room or give him a room and stuff. Speaking of Ralsei's room, I was wrong. You guys were right. I mean, the few people who saw my Ralsei video and commented, I think Ralsei doesn't have a room actually. Because of course Ralsei doesn't have a room. Of course his room is empty. It's Ralsei. He doesn't have self-worth. Why would he have furniture? But it's so cute. I'm so sad that we didn't give him the little plushie because this is kind of my headcanon before it got confirmed that Ralsei has a little plush of himself and he loves it very much. And Ralsei has a little plush of himself and he loves it very much. It's his first thing, it's just for him, and now he wants a plushie collection and I'm gonna gift him a Puddydun. Ralsei, do you love a Puddydun plush? Yeah. Speaking of which, firstly, just shortly addressing, If you want to bully Ralsei, you can't. Kris hinders you. Kris is yawning. If you want to say, of course, you don't deserve that. It sounds like, of course, you can be your own person. I'm not gonna let you bully my sweet little fluffy boy player. So Kris does like Ralsei, okay? And secondly, I was right, Ralsei is depressed, okay? I wasn't imagining things. And I wanted to talk about my Don't Sacrifice the Goat video, kind of. Because like I really wanted him to get mad at Kris because I felt like it would further his character development a lot. But also from what we learn in chapter 4 and how much focus he actually got in chapter 3 and 4, I don't think this is a bad outcome. I mean, I predicted something else, everyone did, but I don't know, everything about Ralsei got so much focus and got so explained, and he probably, I think the fandom is gonna respect him a lot more now. Please! So I don't mind at all. I also saw an analysis that I think, I don't know, makes Ralsei a little bit too perfect, but I like it. That Ralsei, Ralsei states multiple times that he doesn't at least know what Ralsei like really is and that he's new to friendship. So I think the Ralsei is a bit socially awkward. He doesn't really know what he's doing. So it kind of rings true. But he, as he says later, even though we're not there yet, he knows so much it hurts. And like he tries to be nice maybe because since he knows so much, he probably also knows that Kris is possessed. And so he tries to be as nice as possible and reaffirm their choices because he just wants to make them feel better because maybe they're just at the verge of a mental breakdown themselves. Yeah, so this is also why I think he could excuse Kris making a fountain after all. I mean, he didn't mind really SUSIE making one also, before I forget it, I think he was so freaked out about Bertley doing one because he did it so close to the actual dark fountain. And we know now what happens when you open more than one dark fountain in one dark world, and I think Ralsei was fearing that that would happen. I think maybe the danger isn't as strong if you have more than one dark world, but they're a bit more far apart. I think the closeness of each fountain also plays a role in something bad happening. Okay, we went to Noelle's house later. After SUSIE gave Ralsei an icy and Ralsei was like, please take this back. Welcome to my ho-ho-ho! Like we also kind of walked around the light world a bit, but one thing I would criticize is they made too many references this time. I mean, if you get them, they were funny, but if you don't, I rather prefer the stemming from character interaction, purely funny moments, and not like, yo, Kris, this vent is kinda sus. You need to vent, player. Stuff. I don't know. But yeah, more Noelle means more Kris lore, and I love that. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Suzel. I feel like Noelle and SUSIE need more interactions without the ship being constantly in the back of everyone's mind. Like Delta Traveler. I think Delta Traveler actually does that quite well. They're just on an adventure together. The crush on SUSIE is still there, but they can interact without. Every time they did something, it felt like, oh yeah, this is to further the ship. Instead of, oh yeah, this is to further their character development, which is firstly a me thing. If you think, oh no, Ammi, they totally did that, they totally furthered each other's character development and stuff, then totally fine, I'm happy you see it that way. But for me it kind of didn't work, sadly. I do like Noelle though, okay, don't get me wrong, I love Noelle. She's so cringe, like in the best possible way. She's just like me for real. Bertley apparently still likes SUSIE. So this counts as an enormous reference now. The act of charity. But Bertley still keeps winning because I do like Bertley, ironically. I haven't gotten to the point where, yeah, no, they totally have, they're totally OTP. No, it's still purely ironic for me, but Bertley describes Kris falling for him as dominoes and stuff, or you can actually accept his requests for going to the festival, but he then says, you guys will need to fight for my love or something. I really like the Bertley is aromantic headcanon, because it would explain why he thinks everyone has a crush on him, because he doesn't really know what that feels like and stuff. Anyway, soul shenanigans, this was the highlight. Kris got to play the piano. Everyone kind of just stopped and listened, right? Don't tell me you didn't do that, right? You also stopped and listened, and I loved that they kind of drank Jockey Mill. And they were so done. They were so done after that phone call. I think most of us think it was Carol, right? I always want to say Halloween, but Halloween is an entirely different character at this point. But at least Kris is working together with the knight, probably, likely, and I think that is actually quite cool, sorta. Like, something else, I think we just got the meaning of knight wrong as a fandom. I don't think it is a person who opens a dark fountain. Anyone can open a dark fountain. It's just literally what this character is called. Kris could have opened a dark fountain. That doesn't make him a knight, but they're working together with the knight. I liked it a lot more, kind of. Like I said, Kris Knight, kind of, I don't know, the game explained it in a way that all my concerns are kind of gone. And we kind of still have this, they're controlled against their will, or they're in a difficult situation and they're really sad. I love Kris as well. Anyway, again, my concerns about Kris Knight and like alternate choice and us defying them and whatever, and I don't know. The game explained it well, so I don't have any more concerns right now. I still have to think about that more, but I'm not gonna do it now. Ascor is there and does whatever, but he wants to get back with Tutorial. I think, my man, just quit it. Give up. What are you doing? I don't know. The best part is when Kris is like in the closet, and they throw a hockey puck at our head, falls me, like some of you said, and then this little minigame, I loved it because it's a minigame for both us and Kris. We have to dodge Kris, and Kris has to stop us from making noise. And like when SUSIE opens the closet and is like, dude, what are you doing? You're supposed to look for clues, and just shuts the door again. This was so funny, and we kind of missed this. SUSIE and Noelle think Ralsei looks like a dreamer, kind of, but I just think it means he looks like a white goat. Like, obviously he looks like a white goat. Kris doesn't think he looks that much like their brother. They even said it to SUSIE. She acknowledges us as well. I don't know. Okay, but this is really funny because apparently if you stay there long enough, SUSIE will be like, yeah, have you ever noticed Kris is really good at flirting? And she's like, with who? And then she's like, yeah, like with enemies and stuff. So, yeah, man, I don't know, forget it. But they really need to get me some lessons soon or something. And she's like, what? Flirting lessons from Kris? Yeah, it could be fun. Yeah, okay, I guess you can come too. I don't think Kris would teach me that. Then I guess it will just be the fun gang molecule. I don't get it. Why is there such a huge amount of ship teasing for like every possible ship? Is this a secret dating sim? SUSIE's seriously just gonna get in harem at this point. Anyway, I want to talk about Carol a bit. Apparently her name is Carol. Halloween is way funnier. I don't think I have much more to say. Well, all of this. They have a point. Don't take a missing person's precious guitar just like that. I love that SUSIE just straight up called her jerk. Like, that's the mayor. And she just called her jerk. And I was like, guess who's taking you tomorrow to the daughter yesterday? You know what I mean. Jerk! And then she just runs away. But that means Kris can't buy her ice cream. But I promised Ralsei, what am I gonna do now? But I mean, it's Deltarune, and Deltarune is like uh, Toby Fox, and of course we don't have pure evil villains. But I've seen some discussions around, yeah, okay, I'm defending Maya Holiday, or yeah, Mela Holiday. Mela Holiday is abusive, and I don't know. I think it's important here to not forget that Noelle is scared of her mom, and Rudy is kind of implied to be as well. She can have all the good intentions she wants, and I think we shouldn't ignore that, but we shouldn't ignore this as well. I mean, she was very purposely written to feel cold and intimidating, and yeah, it could be a red herring, it's Deltarune, but yeah, I don't think she isn't a good person. Really, or at least she isn't anymore. I've seen some analysis that she's really possessive, at least. She even bronzed Noelle's stuff, meaning she values it, but maybe that wasn't the best move. It's kind of like a what's her name in English? Lusamine from Pokemon move. Kinda, sorta, maybe. Also, she has a katana. I love that she's a weeb. Oh yeah, that's just my mom's katana. What? Yeah, I don't know. I think her dynamic with her daughters is way more complicated than just pure evil and pure good, but I think she's a deeply flawed person, and we shouldn't ignore that. Speaking of, like, I was thinking a little bit about Carol and the Knight connections, and like, if Carol knows the Knight, and the Knight does probably know Kris, and someone talked with them over the phone, and if it was Carol, what is her goal here? The main speculative goal for Carol as the Knight always was that she wants to get her daughter back, and I love that we're now just like my theory, which is that it's Des and Carol are the main suspects now. I love that. Also, if it's true, then it's really weird for other people who are hemming the Knight right now. Yeah, but like, if Des is the Knight, what's her goal here then? Des is already there. What is there to gain? Why would she cost the end of the world? I feel like shortly, like, if Des is the Knight, and they're deer, right? I mean, they have antlers. Then I think, like, it's also kind of a metaphor. Like Cookie said, it was, the Knight is kind of a manifestation of trauma, and I can see that totally. That maybe Des got lost in the dark so much it corrupted her, and that this is what drives her motivation and why she looks so hollow knighty. So yeah, I can get behind what Des is doing, but yeah, it's complicated, okay? I'm sure there's a perfectly good explanation for all of this. Anyway, enough speculation. Everyone gets kicked out except for you. You can come over anytime. Haha, totally not ominous. Okay, I need to talk about the dynamic. Okay, I mean, Carol obviously is really shady here, and if, like, she's behind the Dark Fountain stuff, and I was kind of imagining that, like, Carol one day just went to Kris, and or rather that this whole schemy shit started way earlier when Kris was still coming over to play piano, and they kind of noted that Carol was behaving really strangely, and so they stopped coming over. But maybe one day she just approached him and was like, Kris, I know what you did, but we can fix it. But not like in a, oh, it's okay, Kris, I know what we can do, but more like in a, don't worry, I'm not your enemy. I said we can fix it, not you. I just need your soul, or something like that. I can totally see that, and like, this is so messed up because essentially Carol was a guardian to Kris, right? She watched them grow up and stuff. And they're still a teenager, so this is why, I mean, like, if this is really true, and I mean, I'm just also, at the end of the day, I'm just an idiot who rambles stuff, but this is so messed up. Oh my gosh. Poor Kris. Like, for real. Poor Lasso. I even kind of thought that because we went to Noelle's that the dark world would be at Noelle's, but no, it is at church. I even shortly thought that we were gonna go to the bunker straight away. Nope. Maybe I should shortly say that I thought maybe the Deltarune is Toriel, but guess the hints to it being something else, I don't know. But maybe he really just wants the Deltarune, like the one from the bunker. I mean, I was really hyped. I'm gonna talk about, it's interesting that Susie, was more like, oh fuck, another dark world, and your mom is still in there, shit. So because someone pointed out that, yeah, they're taking the dark worlds a little bit more seriously now, and yeah, I was actually really hyped because I loved the aesthetic from the trailer, like this gloomy church thingy, and we immediately, like see the night again, which I also really like because it feels like, it's you, my arch nemesis, Perry the Platypus, and stuff. Yeah, also interesting that if Kris is like the knight's rookie or something, I don't know how to call it, they still attack them quite frequently. What's also interesting is that Ralsei seemingly just hurried over on his own, and maybe he also was like, oh god, what if Kris and Susie are here? I quickly need to find something. Also throughout the whole chapter, this finding something was way more important than actually following us. I really like that. I mean, I'm not going to talk about much. I honestly thought this chapter was really exhausting, especially because there were so many new mysteries which I just wanted to be answered, and everything kind of dragged, and we had a new mechanic, the bosses were kind of whatever, hard again, and we weren't really accustomed to them. I don't know. Gerson was there. Why was he there? I thought. It got explained later. Some people are also kind of mad that Gerson was there, but Toriel got sidelined super hard. I was like, did Alvin dig up his father's grave? No, Gerson was just not in a grave in the first place. I also like how Susie freaked out about that. I'm skipping over everything because, I mean, we've got some cute moments here and there, but everything felt so... Why are we having cute moments? Everything is so weird right now. But then Susie opens the dark fountain! And she even, like, her eyes even glowed red, and the way Kris gave her their knife, and they were like, hey Kris, you usually carry this around. They were like blushing because it was embarrassing to them. Yeah. Ah, my gosh, this was, oh my god. Yeah, like I said, I also like how Susie freaked out about like the dust stuff. Also about dust and monsters and blood, okay? I don't know what's the deal with this bunny, but I think monsters just straight up are able to bleed, okay? Okay, Noelle bleeds, Susie bleeds. I totally forgot to talk about the Snowgrave stuff, which also is so messed up and I love it. But I didn't play it because, like, I'm stuck at spam. But yeah, also is shortly about Snowgrave. I especially love how Kris stomps in on us in this trash can. I love how they freak out, and that they apparently actually carried Berkeley to the hospital, apologized to Noelle. Oh my gosh, like, it's so sad that you have to play Snowgrave for all of this. I mean, I guess it's good because it's all in the context of tragedy, and we don't want tragedy in our main game or something. I mean, we do, but not like this. Anyway, it's really funny. One of my friends and I kind of talk about this, but like, yeah, the Dark Worlds they look depending on who makes them, but also the first Dark World was kind of constructed to have a second half, right? Do you have this fountain where you can put money in? Half of the statues are just statues straight up. Everything's upside down. I love the soundtrack in Susie's Dark World. I felt like, oh, yeah, this is a Susie Dark World when it started playing. I generally love the new battle theme. Even though I like Rootbuster a little bit more, it's more exciting, but this was really epic. And then the Ralsei moment, I yelled so loudly, like when I recorded the voice acting stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna release this video before I made like the voice acting thingy, but yeah, head was warning already. This was so emotional also. I love that Ralsei actually got to break down, tell everyone that it hurts to know so much, that he knows so much and he doesn't know when to tell everyone. And he's actually really a tragic character. Okay, he's not evil, he doesn't mean ill, he just doesn't know what to do with all this information, and he has existential dread. He doesn't want to die. He thinks everyone is gonna die. He doesn't want that. He actually is defying the prophecy he didn't want to be fulfilled since the very moment we met him. And then SUSIE comforts him, and it's so cute. Both of them are so cute. I love them so much. And oh god, oh, I just want to give them a hug. I just want Ralsei to say that. I want them to know that he's real, okay? Also, quickly before I get that, because I can't keep going back to it, obviously I'm bummed out that he isn't real, supposedly, but, like, I think he's gonna be in a way that he's allowed to have his view of the world shift. I kind of now also think that perhaps some Gaster-like person, meaning it doesn't have to be Gaster, but someone with no meta knowledge or with a specific goal of experiment or something, also told Ralsei stuff. All the stuff. He didn't ask to know, but he does, meaning either he was created that way, or someone just straight up, hey guy, let me tell you about this crazy thing about UL, and he went like, what? Or maybe his parents that he doesn't have. But I think someone like that maybe also could have told Ralsei a more pessimistic version of everything. But what I mean with Ralsei is allowed to be real someday is that it's just his arc. He says himself that he has feelings. He's starting to develop his own interests. He asks if it's okay for a darker to do that. And the more he does that, I guess the realer, so to say, he becomes. I'm just gonna read out what I wrote, because it's hard for me to describe. Thinking about the way Ralsei will be real someday. I saw a really cool art piece with Ralsei in his empty room that was titled Selfless, with a cool double meaning and stuff, and I think they just right on hit the nail on the head. Ralsei is selfless. He wants to carry all the burden. His interests are only to please and accommodate Kris and Susie's needs. He doesn't know what being Ralsei-like even is, but most devastatingly, he sees himself as an illusion. He technically isn't even a self. Slowly, he's starting to realize things, that friendship isn't just being nice all the time, what his own interests could be, that he has feelings, that he is experiencing negative feelings, that he is allowed to not smile. His character arc is hinted to be that he will grow into his own person someday, and on that level, it will effectively make him real, at least for himself. This is what I mean. Yeah, maybe it's cheesy, but it's not, okay? I need this for him. Yeah, poor Ralsei. I mean, it was his arc since chapter 1. Like, realizing, okay, you can't be nice, kind of already is recontextualized to something else. It's more devastating if you think about it, but yeah. Like, his worldview got a bit shifted, then figuring out that being not nice in a sense of, like, friendship is also okay, that it just makes you your own person, and yeah. I kind of can see now how you could interpret this as it not being that good, I guess. The story, I mean, some people didn't like the story, said it was kind of bad. And like from that angle, I mean, it was kind of important for Ralsei to learn that you can't just be nice all the time, but now we learned that he did that to defy the prophecy. So, I don't know, the kind of original meaning kind of got lasted away with that, which was a really nice meaning, kind of, I guess, that there's nuance to everything. And, yeah, if Ralsei just does that to defy the prophecy and then it didn't work, it just becomes more devastating. I don't know, I think you can work your way around this, because I really like this explanation of his character in these chapters. Which is also why I'm just gonna straight up skip all the Titan stuff. But yeah, Titan, and it was so well animated, oh my god. Oh my gosh, yeah, Gerson shows up, apparently he's the secret boss of chapter 4, Didn't notice, didn't care, honestly. Ralsei actually just kind of goes away when you close your eyes to look at Susie. You prevented him from doing that the first time. And I also don't know how to find all the secrets in this dang chapter. oh my god. But then the ending scene with Ralsei and Susie, and Ralsei just screaming kind of like in desperation that he's sorry that Susie had to see this. And she's just like, nah, that's stupid, don't worry about it, okay? We're not gonna let that happen. And then she lifts his face with her bloody hand and tells him not to cry, everything will be okay. Like, what? Oh my gosh. They're so important to each other. Oh my god. And then the Ralsei wasn't okay after that. And then this is Kris's first genuine Ralsei hug, unless you're evil. And told him to keep smiling, but oh my gosh, I mean, they didn't hug him like fully, but they comforted him in like a Kris way, like half hug, and allowed him to be scared and kind of share his burden with his friend. Oh, and then he told them that it was cool when they played the piano the whole day. The whole Kris piano stuff was so great also, because they were allowed to play even though we kind of still controlled them. And they played so beautifully, and then it played this Kris distress song to open the place where the night was. And Ralsei acknowledges, Kris, you the person, yes you. I'm talking, you were cool, okay? Your own unique interests and personhood is cool, yeah? We're cool, right? I'm not just blushing for the player's sake, I actually like you, okay? Yeah, and then Susie gives her usual Leah end of chapter speech, and we're so fucked up after that, and when we return home, and we all know what happens when we return home. Apparently you could have done a bunch of more stuff in, like, the night, but I didn't do that because I wanted it to end. I wanted answers, okay? I wanted to be finished. I wanted to not be scared of spoilers anymore. And then we have Sam and Toriel just dancing there, and like, I also love that like Susie and Kris are looking at each other while entering the room, and Susie's like, hey, can I stay over again? And I was like, why don't you just live here? But then you see Toriel and Sam and Susie pisses off because it's too awkward for her. And I was like, nein, Susie, no, Kris needs you right now. And then I can't sleep, and it's so painful to watch. There's also apparently Toriel discourse about how she is either a bad mom or deserves a break, and I think it's really just a wrong place, wrong time kind of deal. She absolutely deserved to let loose and kind of drink alcohol and dance with Sans or whatever, but this is really just a series of unfortunate events. I don't know. She couldn't have known that Kris, I mean, they don't even tell her that they need help. They are not doing well. No, it's too late. They couldn't have talked about, hey mom, you know, I'm gonna defeat like this being that is a threat to the whole world, and might kill us, and I'm gonna learn that maybe like the world's doomed and stuff, maybe don't drink tonight or something. And Toriel's like, oh yeah, sure honey, make sure to brush your teeth before crossing the street. Yeah, so yeah, at least Toriel is more nuanced than that, but I like that this is actually getting addressed, and this was also in the Universal Mother theory that Toriel has an alcohol problem. She isn't an alcoholic, but when she drinks, she kind of makes her kids responsible for her well-being, and isn't really responsible with drinking, and this got kind of shown, so I kind of think it might be addressed in chapter 5, maybe? I mean, apparently Asko wasn't a prophecy, so yeah. And then Susie shows up, kind of comforts Kris. They want to jump into the night, and I was like, yes, go! But then they got ringed on, and the person on the other end was like, Kris, you promised. And like, the promise in our hearts got a new meaning now. And then there wasn't any song to comfort me in the dark. But what comforted me in the dark is that next year we're gonna get the next chapter! I'm so happy! I hope this wasn't too loud, but oh my god, we don't have 1 year. We have 1 year to brain rot ourselves. We don't have enough time for that. And then we gotta get 5 more years for chapter 6 release. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, that was the biggest comforter. I forgot some stuff, but I want to talk about the prophecy and my kind of theory about what the bad ending is. I have no evidence for any of that, okay, so it's just speculation, honestly, not a theory, but I think instead of just someone of them straight up dying, maybe it's some sort of reset the world kind of deal. I mean, there are a lot of media that Toby Fox has consumed where, like, you could interpret everything and everyone out of it. Yeah, I mean, in spoilers for Mother 3, and a game whose name I don't know, but in Mother 3, the world also kind of gets reset in the end. Maybe I should have given a spoiler warning before I spoiled what the spoiler is gonna be. Like, there's this game that apparently also gives a bunch of inspiration to Toby, maybe, where, like, it turns out the main character was the villain, which is also what someone used as proof for Kris Night. And it was kind of a time loop. I doubt it will be a time loop because honestly I think that's stupid. But in the end of the day, so resetting the world kind of seems more plausible to me. But we don't know. We can't know. It was a fucking fever dream. We have no idea. So speculating about that is pointless, honestly. Okay, now about this prophecy. I love the theory, even though it has flaws, and you can definitely debunk it, that at least Susie and Kris, not Ralsei, honestly, aren't actually the heroes of the prophecy. It was really jarring when the prophecy described Kris as just a cage with human parts. Like, it gave this weird, Kris was made for that purpose thing, but that's not true. We know that's not true. Kris is a human. Kris had a life before us. A really sad life. It's in part, it's implied that they did some bad stuff to themselves. But we know something or someone that actually fits this description way better, which is the vessel. We are kind of the hero, and our vessel is the human cage with parts, but then it got discarded, and someone, maybe it was Gaster, maybe someone else, who knows, this is also way too complicated for me to get into, made us join Kris. And this is why this is supposed to be Kris. I think Ralsei kind of read that and was like, oh, poor them, they wouldn't, that means they're a human, right? That sounds so evil to describe someone like that. And then he censored it. And with Susie, her role is just girl, and we have another girl who could be a better candidate for that. I've heard she even can equip swords. It's Noelle. I mean, even in like texts, I had never tried to equip anything to the characters because until now I never had to use it. You can't spare a fucking Titan, apparently. Also, like, I like Jackenstein, but I hate his boss fight. I hate it so much. She has pencils, and those are canonically swords, so yeah, this was a anyway. And also, like, the love that finds itself to the girl looks like a human heart, and like soul and monster souls maybe still are just turned upside down, perhaps. Then Noelle obviously has already a crush on Susie. I also thought maybe this love thingy just means that Susie is like the loveliest person in this entire town, accidentally. Yeah, but it was also implied through Ralsei that everyone was actually supposed to just fight through everything. Maybe the prophecy even wasn't supposed to begin so early? I don't know. It's really fun to speculate about, but I love that because it effectively just means Susie accidentally chose herself to be a hero, even though she wasn't supposed to be one. She is in the prophecy though still, because there was the girl and stuff, so I don't know what part she was supposed to play originally, but I really love that. Okay, I had a thought just now. Right, it was about humans and monsters and about escapism. One thing I don't really like about the nothing in the dark world is actually real thingy, which is also why I hope someone with alternative motives told Ralsei that, is like, what's the point of magic if it's not real, kinda? What's the point of having humans and monsters there if it's not real? I mean, obviously because Undertale, I love that any setting just goes with it and says like, yeah, okay, we have these funky little dudes here. But, yeah, I don't know. Also, like, the roaring wouldn't be such a threat if it wasn't real, just saying. Yeah, I don't know. I've put my thoughts down somewhere else, but that's like the gist of it. Okay, Deltarune next year. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy about this information. Only 356 days until Deltarune. I doubt it will be like at the beginning of next year though. Get ready for the next batch of Deltarune tomorrow, I guess. And thank you for watching. I'm so happy about chapter 3 and 4. Even though I have still a lot to do, I have to think about it more. I totally can see the angle about maybe the story is a little bit weird, but for now I just want to enjoy it because at least I love these characters so much. Yeah.